production is a complicated business with significant impacts on its surroundings. Still, private companies often overlook or ignore negative human, environmental, and societal consequences of their ventures. With impact and influence at every level, you automatically become stakeholders involved in any conflicts that may arise where you work. It's up to you to make active choices towards resolving these conflicts and preventing new ones. Conflict has not only moral, but financial consequences. It's in your interest to encourage transparent revenue streams, adopt stringent environmental safeguards, and promote the development of local communities. Just as significant capital investments maximize your returns, serious investments in responsible and sustainable practices minimize your risks. The growing trend of nationalization presents a legitimate threat to the operations of international oil companies, who currently own or have access to less than 10% of the world's oil resources. In countries with high levels of inequality, oil revenue tends to be distributed unevenly. To quell domestic protests, governments may nationalize operations. You can avoid such financial hits by working with national and local governments to ensure the transparent and fair distribution of revenues. Petroleum companies are often accused of causing enormous harm to the environment. By destroying livelihoods and compromising health, extractive industries aggravate instabilities faced by local populations and create volatile surroundings for their own investments. In Nigeria, Royal Dutch Shell recently estimated that an average of 6% of the country's total production is lost to oil theft and spills. The main oil platform was attacked in May 2008, causing a 10% shutdown in production. In Ecuador, environmental damage from outdated technologies and pipelines through indigenous communities has sparked protests against Arco and Chevron Texaco. Due to intense community resentment, Chevron employees will only visit production sites with armed bodyguards. To reduce the risk of production interference, it's important to foster positive relationships with local communities. By leveraging your position as a major source of government revenue, you can insist upon transparency in the use of funds and encourage policy focused on sustainable local development. All major oil companies have researched improved technologies and equipment, but few have implemented these measures across all project sites or cleaned up existing damage. Neglecting the environmental implications of your operations can be dangerous to the integrity of your infrastructure and the safety of your workers. Consumers concerned about conflict mount protests and advocacy campaigns that can easily catch the attention of large-scale media and allow legal cases to gain traction. Skimping on safety can save money in the immediate term, but isn't worth the risk to your operations, access, or reputation. Social media provides an opportunity to strengthen relationships with consumers, but also allows for increased scrutiny of corporate practices. Negative press often has tangible consequences. Exxon and BP are still recovering from the Exxon Valdez and Deepwater Horizon oil spills. Texaco is tied up in a $27 million lawsuit involving the people of the Amazon, and a small group of Nigerian villagers has successfully sued Shell, setting a precedent for future cases. In the past 2 decades, trials have become more frequent, more expensive, and more public. Despite overall industry wealth, declines in existing assets push long-term viability concerns front and center. This presentation has demonstrated how the costs of unsustainable practices affect all phases of the petroleum supply chain. Clearly, an integrated response is required. Actively addressing your role as a stakeholder in conflict is crucial to building your brand, enhancing your reputation, managing the trust of other stakeholders, reducing costs, and growing future revenues.